Okay, so we start the is equal to. So can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry?
Yes, we can see it, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. But very small. As in the programming in Python part is small.
Okay, so this is here it is, right? Okay, so in this slides, you will go to know about the data structures, slicing, lists, and basic programming concepts with Python, right? Yeah, we have moved to the switch. So, do you have any idea about the switch? What switch do? In day-to-day life, you have experience about switch, right?
Turning on and off.
Yeah, turning on and off, just moving around two states, right? So the typical switch that you have in available in your room. So what happens is just you are on and off, right? So just moving between two stages, just on or off. So in the programming also, just think that if you want to move from few stages, means that multiple branch statements. So what will we do is we are using a switch, but in the Python we don't have that sort of a switch statement. But in the other languages, just as Java or C, we are using this switch, right? Then what is a loop? So you have experienced loop in your day-to-day life as well. So what will happen in the loop?
Go through the same thing over and over again till the condition is satisfied.
Yeah. What happens is that is just a, what do you mean that? Until a condition satisfied, we are executing it, right? A repetition will happen, right? So there are various types of loops we are using in a programming languages like Python, as well as others also, right? For while, do while, until, that sort of loops we can have in Python language, right? So first we will move to the while loop. So what will happen in a while? So when you adjust the word sense, while means we are just waiting until it meets for a condition, right? True, just something like that. So we are just wait until we are meeting certain condition. We are moving with the while loop, right? So in here you can see that while x smaller than 4, so it's print x, and we are adding x equal x plus 1. So what sort of output we can have in here?
Miss, we don't see anything.
You don't see anything?
Only programming in Python.
I see, sorry. Yeah, I will share the screen with you. So now it's okay.
Can see now.
Now it's okay, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what will happen in a while loop? So should I again just what do you mean? Do a recap? No, isn't it? Everything is clear for you. Mama, I said as you didn't see the slides. Or else is everything clear for you?
It's clear.
It's clear, ma'am.
It's clear. Okay. Okay, so then we have moving with the while loop. Right? So what will happen in a while? So just the word says we are just waiting until a condition is made. That's why we are using while, right? So then in the programming also we are using this while just until we are meeting this condition. So my question is, what sort of output you will gain if you run this program, just code snipped? What will happen?
We need to input a x value, and
Sorry, I can't hear Buddha.
we need to input a x value, and program will run and see if it is smaller than 4. And after that, if it is true, it will print x, I think.
Okay, yeah. So I heard I didn't hear properly, but as I got to know, you are saying that so when we are printing the x, then we are incrementing x by 1. Then again, as it is increased, then we are checking whether the condition is met, then print. That's what happened, right? Yeah, of course, that's what happened. So what sort of output you can have in here? So can you just copy this in your IDE and paste it? Right? Sorry? Yeah, yeah. I want that answer from you. Right? You are very smart. So nice. As if x doesn't have any initial value, you will not have an answer, right? So okay, so just assume that x will start with you can see my screen, right? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
miss.
Okay. So just assume that x starts with 1 and we are just writing that same code here while x smaller than 4, right? So what will happen is we are printing x and just increasing x plus 1. So we are writing it. So yeah, we are just having an error there. Of course, we are didn't insert a colon, right? So we are just having only the values 1, 2, 3, right? We just assume that x equals 1. So if we change it as 2, then what will happen? We will have only 2 and 3, right? So until the condition is satisfied. I mean, so if the condition is satisfied, so we will break the loop. Got the idea what happens in a while? While එකේදී මොකද වෙන්නේ කියන එක තේරෙනවද? So I hope all of you can understand Sinhala, right? Is there anyone who can't understand Sinhala? Yeah, they are, right? There is there. Yeah, just so yes. There are some students, right? So okay. Okay, I will use English. So yeah, okay, thank you, great, right? There's no issue with the language. I'm using English, right? Okay, so what will happen? So you got the idea what happens, right? So until it remains as x is less than 4, what will happen is we are printing x, isn't it? Is it okay with you? Come on, guys, I need the answer, right? If I ask, is it okay with you? I at least expect yes or no. Okay, great. Yeah, if it is not clear about if my explanations are not clear to you, you are always free just to ask it again, right? I don't just shout at you, right? So now we are moving again, just moving forward, right? So okay, then we have a question. You have to write a program, Python program, to print first 10 even numbers. So can you just try it? First 10 even numbers. So in here, Okay, before moving to the first 10 even numbers, shall we print the word OUSL 7 times? Right? So the second one, we will try it first. Print the word OUSL 7 times. What will happen? So you have to print OUSL 7 times. What shall we do then? We will just change the code, print. So when we are inputting when you are inserting a string, what we'll have to do is we are just going with the OUSL here and we are typing OUSL here. Okay. So what happens in a while is we are just running the loop, means we are just moving around the loop, moving around this code block until we are satisfying this condition, right? So as it is x equal 1, we will see what sort of output we can have. 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. Right? So until the condition is satisfying, we are just we are running around the code block, right? That's what happened in the while. Is it okay with you? Anyone is okay? Anyone is not clear? Is there anyone who can't understand yet what happens in a while?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear what some student is talking, but what? Okay, so yeah, give me a second, right?
Now, can you hear me, ma'am?
Ah, yes, right now it's okay. Yes.
Ma'am, if we input x equals to 0, is it okay? I have get the output 7 times. Is it okay, ma'am? X equals.
Yeah, it's okay. You can just initialize the value as you wish.
Okay.
In here. Yeah, until the condition is met. Condition is satisfied when a count. So means that condition is false, right? Until the condition is false. Sorry, if the condition is false, we are just moving around the rest of the code. If the condition is true, then we are just breaking the loop. Condition එක false නම් තමයි ඒක satisfy. So until the condition is met. Condition එක meet වෙලා නැහැ තා. meet වෙනකන් තමයි අපි මේ code මේ මොකද ඇතුලේ තියෙන block එක run කරන්නේ. Is it okay with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So one student asks, so while loop එකේදී condition එක false වෙනකන් නෙමෙයිද result එක print. Yes, that's what I am saying. Until the condition is met. Right? Condition එක false. So until the condition is met, so we are just moving around the loop. Is it okay with you? Yeah. So one student asks, the fourth line should written in the second line. Just like this way, I guess. Right? So what will happen? What happened? You got an error, right? So this is an unexpected index. So as in the Python, it is very important just to what do you mean? Just to take care of the indentation, right? So when we are just typing the code, so you have to just what do you mean? The concern about this, consider about this indentation, cause this in this language. So they are just identify as we don't use brackets and all those things in for just to open up a code snip and close up the code snip. So we are just moving with this indentation. So it's get better if you can understand. If you get a what do you mean? Consider about this indentation. If you move to this one to second one, so this compiler can't understand whether this one is moving with this while loop or else it should be get out from the while. So he can't understand. So that's why they are outputting an error. Any more questions in this whole step? Okay. So one student asked that if x equals 0 and if we just type it as here 7, so she got the same value. Means so you are selling 7 times. So there's nothing strange because here first we are just counting x equals 0, right? The initial value is 7. Sorry, 0. So is 0 less than 7? Yes. Then we are just increasing x by, sorry, we have to just, I will just drop it in here, right? So then we are printing the word OUSA. Then we are increasing x by 1. So 0. Now what is the value of new x? It is 1, right? Then what will happen? Then we are again moving up. Your x equal x less than 7. Yes. Then we are printing the same one. Then, so we have two OUSAs here. Then what will happen? X equal x plus 1. Then now it is x equals 2, right? 2 is, so 2 is less than 7. Yes. So we are printing the OUSA. Then increase the x by 1. 2 goes as 3. Then 3 is there, 3 less than 7. Then we are printing 7. So we are just moving like that way. Is it okay with you right now? Is it okay? Come on, guys. I need the answer, right? Here you can see 0. For the 0, it prints. For the 1, it prints. 2 prints. And if the x equals 7, so 7 less than 7, is it okay? No, it's false, right? So the condition becomes false. So the condition, we are breaking the condition, then we are moving out. Is it okay? There are another, so 2 messages there. Yes, if we are if we have x equal 4, yes, only 3. I guess it is 4, not 4. Not 4. In here, I think it's 2. Yes, sorry, 3. Right? We will have 3. Yeah, it's okay. So as we have, since they have said that we have to print it as 7 outputs, no? So that's why I put, you can say put 0 or else we can just start with 1 and we can use x less than or equals 7. So less than or equals means, so if the x is 7, also we are printing there, printing the word OUSA. Then when x is greater than, sorry, x increased by 1, x equals 8. Then 8 less than 7, do. Then we are breaking the loop. Is it okay with you? Any confusions? Yes, I got. Yeah, all good. Okay, thank you. Okay, then we will move forward, right? Okay, so we have another question left. So we have to write a Python program to print first 10 even numbers. So how can we print it? What sort of code? Okay, so you can guide me or else you can try it. What do you prefer? Okay, so I will just give 2 minutes, no, 4 minutes just to try out how to output the result. We want to get first 10 even numbers. So yeah, so you can try it right now.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
I have put my code to the chat. Is it correct, ma'am?
Okay, I got it now. Okay. So this is for the first one, no? So the one not the one I didn't give wrong. You in here you have printed X and the OUSL if X and X plus 2. So is this the answer for the first one? Okay, so yeah. So I will just get the first the student's answer. So we will check what sort of things will happen, right? As this is the class, so you don't worry, just you don't bother if you are wrong, right? In here, what will happen is, yeah. So I ask you to print first 10 even numbers. So first 10 even numbers means the x doesn't stop at 10, right? I need 10 even numbers. Here I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And also the 0 is not an even number. I didn't ask you to print OUSL here. So there should be some alternations, right? So I didn't ask you to print OUSL. I just wanted to print the first 10 even numbers.
Madam, how do you print a variable on Python?
Yeah, just we can use like this. So we can just print X. So what print statement, and inside that you can just input what is the variable that you want to print.
Excuse me, ma'am. Now is it correct?
Yeah, let me check, right? Yeah, it's now, I don't know whose answer I'm looking at. Yeah, now it's okay, I think. Yeah. So here, so as I got to know, 0 is not an even number, right? is 0 a even number? Yeah, I will start as 2 and just increase it by 2. So I can just print it like this way, or else I can start it by 1 and I can use an if, right? If x mod 2. So do you know what happens in the mod? Do you have any idea about this modulus operator? Do you have any idea regarding this modulus operator? This one? Do you have any idea? Yeah, just increasing x by 1. Right? So we are getting the same out. You can use either that way or this way, right? So what happens in this modulus operator? I don't know whether you know it or not. Okay. So what happens in the
Don't
modulus?
know, ma'am.
Yeah. So in here,
When we do the modulus operator, it shows after they after dividing a number, and it shows the remaining number.
yeah, only the remainder, right? So when we divide a certain value, so we can have a quotient as well as remainder, right? So in here in the modulus, we can output the remainder. But from that, means if we divide a number by another number, so if we use we can have a quotient as well as a remainder. So with the modulus operator, we can output that remainder. That's what happens. So if the remainder is 0, we are just printing x, then we are incrementing the x by 1. Is it okay with you? Do you have any doubts, any questions?
Madam, that modular thing that you said, where is that related to?
Where is that related to me?
Why did you bring it into the discussion here? Is it related to the code we are writing?
Yes. This is the modulus operator. The percentage mark?
Where is the percentage used here, madam?
So can't you see the screen here? My
It
program
just
is
shows the old print OUSL only.
so all of you are looking like same.
I
Okay.
think it's a
So,
connection problem.
okay. Now it's okay now? You can see my screen, all of you, no? Others?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this modulus operator we are using is just to output the remainder. If x divides by 2, so all of you know that remainder is 0, then it is an even number. So we are just printing it like this. Any confusions about this code snippet? Yeah. You can use either this way or that way. The only thing you want to get the answer, right? So I'm just not deducting marks if you don't use F, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay. So you can use any preferable method as a programmer. So you can use any the best way to solve a problem, right? So we are not forcing these things. Just we are, but we have to use what we have. We have to get an idea on what sort of things we can use. So what sort of options. So I'm just showing you the two options here. Okay, so I got numerous answers here. Yeah, great. So we can use two variables. And with the use of two variables also we can output the same result. Means just to get the counter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up to 10, and another variable just to print out only the even numbers. You can use any of the preferable method. But as according to my experience, I'm just instructing you. Yeah, it's okay. You are feel free to find an answer according to your best way, but just think about the efficiency as well, right? So sometimes with the use of two variables, just counts much more memory than the using a single variable. So just think about that things as well, right? Anyway, we will move forward. So now we are again with the for loop, right? So what will happen in a for loop?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
I have run the code you give us
Mhm.
with compiler, but it didn't work for me. Why is that, ma'am? Can you check my code? Is there any errors in my code, ma'am? I will put my code into the chat.
Okay.
Is there any mistakes, ma'am? It's not running for me. That's why.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for reminding me that, right? Okay. So yeah, I got an answer. So it's okay here. So did you check the indentation as well?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
what sort of error it outputs?
It shows that it shows nothing, ma'am. It's not printing anything, ma'am.
So most probably, I think you want to just refresh your compiler first. Then you can have it.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So we are moving with the for loop right now, right? Everything is sorted in the while. So now you can see my screen with the for loop, right? So, okay. So you can see what happens in a for loop there. It is also a repetitive code block, means iterative sequence. When we need a iterative, uh, just iterative over elements of a sequence, so we are using a for loop, right? But so while what will happen? We are just waiting until the condition is met, right? To break the loop. Means the condition should be remains as false to run the rest of the code. But in the for, what will happen? Yeah. So can't you see my screen for loop? So can you see my screen? I am just having the PowerPoint slide with the for loop.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Okay. So we can have another example here. Okay. So for x in range 2, 7, we are printing the x. So we will check what sort of output we can have in here, right? Then I will explain the code. Yeah. So what sort of output we can have is We are just printing the value 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So what sort of comments that you can have when you are looking at this code? What do you think? What was happening there actually? Yeah, it's print the numbers between 2 to 7, right? And yeah, it's looping inside the range. Yes. So it prints up to the values. So starts with 2 and goes until x equals 7, right? So that's what happened. So you got an idea now. So we will move forward then. So how to use loop for strings, right? So yeah, as we didn't come for the data structures, I don't want to mention what happens in here. Okay, so if you run this code snippet, what will happen is it prints the months, right? So I will show you. So you can see that it prints. So for M in months, so first month will print, then we are going for the next one, and for the third one. Likewise, we are just taking in the list that what happens in this in here, right? Is it okay with you? So there's a question for you. So you have to write a simple Python program to print the 4 times table to 48. So what sort of answer you can give in here? I hope I got an answer. So 4 times table, I just need the multiplicative table here, right? So in here I got an answer, but I don't think that the desired output for me will output in here. Is it okay? Okay, I will check it out. So I need the 4 times table up to 48, right? Okay, so for my confirmation, I want to know why we are just using this if here, if x modulus 2, why we are using that one. So I'll just ask you to use for here. Right? With the use of for loop, you have to output the value. Okay, so one answer is here. Okay, so what happens in here is you will have numbers until 48, but then so in here n equal n plus 4, but it doesn't output the new n here, right? That's what happened. Mm. So don't use while, right? Just work with the for loop here. Okay. Yeah. So we want just the 48, right? So it means I ask you to just not to use while because I'm just teaching for loop here now. So yeah, so we want to just output the 48. So what we need 48 is the 12th multiple of 4, right? So we can just increase x by 4 and just print that one, right? Instead of x, if you use in I in here, what will happen is, so I got the previous answer like this. So what will happen is just outputs 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 up to 50, right? Only 12 values in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it will outputs only 12 values, just increasing I by 4. But it prints the I 12, right? Is it okay with you? Any explanations or any confusions regarding for loop now? Do you have any problems?
Ma'am, can you share with us the correct code, ma'am?
Yeah, you can use this way. So actually for these questions, you can use the programmer's desired method. There will be not only one answer, right? So you can use any preferable method just to output the desired pattern. So in here, what happens is x initialized as 0. So we are just having I in the range of 12. Means the I should be lies between until it goes for the 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 12, right? Then we are just incrementing the value x and we are just adding 4. We can use like this way as well. We can just 1 here and we can just multiply it, right? In here, then what will happen is, so we are just having the x will multiply and it will gives us output as a power, right? So I will alter this one like this way. Okay. So in here, so x is first, sorry, I is first 0, no? So it outputs as, here we can just give the range as 1 to 12. Okay. Yeah. So we can have this sort of thing, right? Okay, I will explain this one. So x equals 1. So now it is the initial value of x is 1. So I is in the range of 1 to 13. So first value of I is 1, then second value is 2, and third value is 3, like that, right? I will just print the I values as well. So the first one is I. So I multiplied by 4. It is now the value of x is 4. So it prints 4. Then it goes up. So until I is 13, we are just running out what do you mean? We are just iterating, right? So now the i's value is 2, then 2 multiplied by 4, it is 8. Then when I is 3, it multiplies by 4, 12. So likewise, we are just moving inside the loop. Is it okay with you? Any explanation? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we have now we will have a break. So what break means the break statement, right? So yeah. So what if I say we will have a break? What will we do? What will do this? If I say now, so I'm not giving a break right now, right? So I'm just asking if I said we will have a break. So what you will do? You will just close your laptops and go, right? So we are just what do you mean? The terminate from what we are doing, right? So the same way, so break is a what do you mean? A unit function that we are using with the for loop to break or terminate the execution of the for loop, right? So in the case if we need to break or terminate the execution, so we are using this break statement. Yes. Okay. So yeah, what happens in here? So any comments you can give for this break when we are looking at this code? Break. Yeah, it goes out from the loop, right? So that's what happened. So do you need any explanations regarding break other than this one? Do you need any explanation? So yeah, in here, if x equals banana, so what will happen is it what you forget all the things what will happen after that one, it breaks the loop and goes out. Right? So that's why we don't have the output cherry in here. It doesn't print cherry, but all the other rest too, right? So first it is x apple. So apple is not equals to banana. Then move again. Then banana. Yeah, banana equals to banana. Then it breaks. Print it and breaks. Right? Is it okay with you?
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Yeah, great. Then the continue. So what will happen in the continue then? So what will happen in the continue is it will terminate the current iteration for the for loop, but will continue the execution of the remaining iterations, right? In here, we check this code. You will identify it. Lazy, right? So we will have a continue here. Yeah. What happened? What happens is first it apple. So apple is equals to banana. No, it prints apple. Then banana equals to banana. So what will happen? Now it meets the X condition. Sorry, if condition. Then it will comes out and forget all this and print. So it will it print then banana? No. Then again move for up. It exists now cherry. Cherry doesn't equals to banana. Then prints cherry. Is it okay with you? It just breaks the loop while, while it meets this condition. Is it okay with you?
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
Yeah, okay, all good. Then you will have a question. So you have to write a simple Python script just to print the numbers from 1 to 20 except 12, 14 and 17. So how can you do it? So I I got an answer, right? We will check it. Yeah. Okay, nice. Any more tries? Any more attempts? Yeah, so the crumbs answer is right. Right. So we are just having a range. And if I is not in this list, so what will happen is it continues and print. Or else we can just have a simple, what do you mean, comparison. If x is not equals to L or 14 or 17, then we can continue. Can use any other way, right? Okay, then we will move forward. So Python user input, right? So in some cases we want to get an input from the users, right? So in that sort of scenarios, we are just using this input. So mm, right. So we will see what will happen. So enter name. So in here we will print our name. Then when we press enter, you will see that. So the name is Selvi, right? So here that's how we are having an input from the user. Then there's an in-class assignment. So you have to do it. And I don't know whether you have to submit it as well. Let me check your. Yes, I hope there's a submission. No, no. So I don't know whether it wants to get submitted or not. But anyway, could you please try it? So as it is in-class assignment, I think it's better if you can try it right now. Shall I give you about 20 minutes? I think it's enough, right? Yeah, 20 minutes for trying this one.
Recording stopped.
So I have paused the recording now. I will give you exactly 20 minutes just to try out what is the in-class assignment, right? I will share my screen just to show you the what you mean. So you can see my screen as well, right? So you can continue with this 20 minutes. So there are two activities. Yeah, both can be done within 20 minutes, right? No, no. I hope it's not available, but I think you have got the presentation, right? Okay. It's great.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
I have not access for the LMS for this course. Can you please share the presentation with me?
Yeah, sure. You mean you want the presentation, no? Shall I
Yes,
drop it
ma'am.
in the chat there?
Yes, ma'am. That's okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. So what is your name? What is the name? Who wants the presentation?
I am Sajini Alhakon, ma'am.
Sachini Alahapodi. You are there.
Got it, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. Submission for you, right? So I hope we can submission. So I think you have to do it and submit it within today. No, I think. Yeah, so I got an answer from student. Mm-hmm. Okay, I will share my screen then. How I show it then? So here, yeah, it is activity 1. So you have to take 3 integers from the numbers from the users and you have to output the addition, division and multiplication. Right? Mm, okay, so the answer is almost correct. So it's great. Mm, then we will move to the activity 2 then, right? This code 2 presentation is there, right? It is explanation mark. The one you have sent to me, it is explanation mark. means that we are using when we are want to calculating a power of something. So we will use that. Yeah, so what you have to do is you have to get the details from a user and you have to get the eligibility check, right? It's not in sequence. Not in a sequence means I can understand what it is. Yes. Okay, so most of you have tried this, right? So I don't think that you need more time. So we will move forward. So you have to watch a video here. I will share the video with you. A small video, just explaining about the data structures in Python, right? Mm. Okay, so I will share the sounds as well. Okay, so we will
Recording in progress.
see this video. check whether you can hear the sound.
In this video, you'll practice list indexing.
So can you hear the sound? Video sound is here. Okay, so I will mute myself and play the video, right?
And slicing. The elements of a list can be accessed by an index. To do that, you name the list, and then inside of a pair of square brackets, you use an index number, like what I'm showing right here. And that allows access to individual elements within the list. The indexing for the list is zero-based. So if you have a list such as this, with these 6 elements, the indices start with 0 and would go up to 5. Let me have you try that out. Start with a new list. So here's A. As described, indexes are zero-based for lists, so A square bracket 0 would access the first item in that list. A2 would access the third one, and in this case, A5 would access the last. Another way to get there would be A and the length of A minus 1. If you use an index value that's too high, Python will raise an exception, an index error saying that the list index is out of range. Negative indexing is available also. So if you want to access the last item, you start with -1. So continuing to work with that list A, I'll have you try out negative indexing. So A -1 will access the last item, A -2, and so forth. So in this case, -6, which is also negative the length of your list, would return the first item. If you try to access an index that's beyond the scope, you get that index out of range also. Slicing is available too. Slicing is an indexing syntax that's going to extract a portion from your list. So in this example, if A is your list, then inside your square brackets, you would have your 2 index numbers separated by a colon, and it's going to return a portion of that A list. That'll start with position M and go up to but not include index N. Using that same example from before, if you took A to 5, you'd get the 3 objects in the middle starting at index 2 and going up to index 4, but not including 5. Let me have you try it out. Okay, so here's your list. So what if you wanted to slice? Let me have you start at index 2 and then using a colon for the second index use 5. From 2 up to but not including 5. Great. You can also use negative indexes. So you could say starting at -5 and going to -2, which is the same as going from 1 to 4. And you can confirm that here. As being true. A shorthand is available. By omitting the first index, your slice is going to start at the beginning of the list and go up to the second index. If you omit the last index, it's going to extend the slice from the first index and go all the way to the end of the list. And if you were to omit both indexes, it's going to return a copy of the entire list. And unlike with a string, it's a copy, not a reference to the same object. So what if you were to omit the first index? In that case, it will start at the beginning and go up to but not include that index. The same as from 0 to 4. And in the same way, removing the second index will go all the way to the end, starting with this index up to the end. Here you can use length, which will return a value of 6. And it would go from 2 up to but not include 6 as the index. If you were to remove both indexes and just have a colon, it returns the entire list. And you can try this out by seeing if it is equal to A which is true. But this is a copy and not a reference. Whereas if you tried A is a colon, it's a copy. It's not a reference to the original. But that could be confusing because if you've worked with strings before, if you have a string S, which is my bacon, using the syntax of just the colon does return the entire string. But what's interesting about it is not only is S equal to S with the colon only index, but it also is a reference to that object. Whereas with a list, it returns an entirely new object. It's possible to add a third index. After the additional colon, that third index indicates a stride, but it's also sometimes called a step. So in this example, if you had a slice that went from 0 to 6 with a step of 2, you would return the objects at index 0, 2, and 4, spam, bacon, and ham. So if you went from index 0 up to 6 with a stride of 2, you'll see it grab the first, third, and the fifth items, skipping over with a stride of 2. If you started that at 1 instead, you'd get the other 3. And it is possible to have a negative stride, though you'd put the first index in as the highest value, and then where you want to go up to is 0. In this case, it's going to go to negative 2. In fact, a simple syntax for just simply reversing your list is to leave the first 2 indexes blank with a colon, and then the second colon and a -1. That will reverse your list. Next, you're going to practice using operators and some of Python's built-in functions on your list.
Hey everybody, how's it going? In this Python video,
Okay, then you got an idea what happens in there, right? So what does it explains about? So what does it explains about? Have you all watched the video? You can hear me, right? Can you hear me? Yeah, so you have watched the video. So what does it explains about? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, nice. So now we are moving with the topic data structures. So as you have said about list, so list is also a data structure. So actually it is a, what do you mean that? It's a built-in data structure, right? List, dictionary, tuples, and set. So these sort of things are data structures that is already built in the Python, right? So but tax queues and all those things that you can learn. I don't know whether you have learned all those things. Tax queues, trees, linked list. Did you learn these things before, data structures and algorithms or something like that? Okay, no issue. If you don't know about these things, you will hopefully you will learn, right? So these sort of data structures we are using in the Python, right? List, dictionaries, tuples, and sets. Okay, so at the video you have learned about list. So what happens in list is we are using the square brackets, right? So when you are using this Python, so you saw that there's a list. So this sort of things we are using, this sort of data structures we are using in the Python, right? So if we need to create a Python, list, we are just want to include the, that necessary data within this vocabulary. Then it defines as a list. In the case if we need an empty list, we can just use this only the scab brackets, right? Just to indicate what is a list is, right? Got my idea? So I will check it while compiling in the compiler. So here you can see empty list, but so the my list we can have the data 1, 2, 3, example 3.132. But the data types will be different among the data that we have to include in a list, but we can import the data, right? Then we have to create a list called my details, right? And so we have to include your name, age, city, and the post in the my details list. So how can we do that, right? So just we can, we will just alter this one. So in the case that we want to include these things, we can just include my name. So me, right? So the other thing that you want is age, my goal. So I have to include my age as well. Age, city, okay. So I'm setting my age, city, and also
I
how
think
to
the
say
screen
that?
is not visible. Yeah.
Okay. I will. So now is it okay?
Yeah, man, thanks.
Yeah. Great. So in the case that I want to just include name, age, city, and the course. So this is BSc, right? Bachelor of Software Engineering, isn't it? So can't you see the screen right now?
Now it's okay, madam.
No?
Now
Can you see the
it's
screen?
yes.
Okay. So yeah. So this is how we can define a list. So we can just use my list, a list name. But it is essential to give a list name, right? And we can just within the square bracket, we can enter the date. So I did something wrong in here. So it should be an integer, right? This is how we are importing the details. So is it everything clear for you? So you know how to define a list right now, isn't it? Any confusions? Any questions on this? So you can see my PowerPoint slide as well, right? I hope so. So can you see this PowerPoint screen now?
Yes, we can see.
Yeah. So any confusions regarding the list? Hope you don't have. So we will move forward. Then we have with the slicing, right? A slice object is used to specify how to slice a sequence. So what we can do in the slice? So normally when the day-to-day life, so you are using slicing, what do you mean? Chocolates, breads, you're slicing, right? So what will you do in the slicing? So if you have siblings, so you're going to what do you mean, share something, right, in the home? What do you mean? Just assume that we want to share a bread. So what will you do? You want to slice them into pieces and just give them, right? Sometimes you will have a lion's share, or else your sister or brother will have a lion's share, right? So according to what do you mean? According to preference or according to the mood that they want to enjoy the food. So you are slicing that thing, right? So do you know what happens in the slicing? Now, do you have any idea? Isn't it? So when you want to just what do you mean? Slicing. Yeah. So have you? Do you have any idea about slicing now? So yeah, what happened? Technically also we use this slicing, right? Slice object. So we want to what do you mean? That want to trim something, just not a trim. So we within a range, we are just extracting that a simple portion from an object. That's what happened in a slice, right? So what sort of output when we can have if we print this code? What sort of output we can have if we output? What do you mean? Compile this code. So this is the output, right? You can see the output A and B. You will just output only the B, A and B. Course. So you know how to number a list, right? Do you know how to number a list? So if you refer for that video, they are explaining about the numbering of numbering indexing of a list, right? So in here, hello all, are you there with me? Hi, are you there with me? Hello. Yes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So in here you can see the screen, right? So you can output as A and B, right? So why is that? We are slicing from the second index, right? So when we are slicing from the second index, we will only output the 0th index value and the first index value, A and B, right? Is it okay? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, nice. So in the case that that is why we are slicing and what do you mean, a list. So in the case when we want adding element, so we are using this append, right? Or extend or insert, right? So what happens in the append is it adds all the elements passed to it as single element, right? But in the extend, it adds the elements one by one into the list. Means in the extend, we can just add one element at once. But in the insert, adds the elements passed to the index value and increase the size of the list too, right? So we will see what will happen when we are appending, right? You will understand the difference when we are checking this, compiling this code. Yeah. So what happens in there? What are the differences that you can find in here? What happens in here? So when the append is comes, so what happened in here? So what is the difference that you can see when we are just appending, extending, and inserting? Any comments? So here you can have the list, right? So when we are appending this, what will happen? So we have, yes, you can tell me. Yeah, it adds elements, but it acts as a single element, right? So you can have a list within a list, right? Can you see? So in the append, it adds a single element. So the whole list, if we have something again in here like 45, so you can see that it acts as a single element, right? Appends as a single element. A single, what do you mean? Single index it will be achieved for this one, right? So, but when we are in the case of extending, what will happen? It comes as different elements, right? So we can have two index values for both of these values, 234 and more example, right? So in the insert, what will happen? Order of the index means Yeah. We are defining the index as well, right? So if you want to just put 0 here, so it comes for the first. Yeah. So if you want to have it as in the what do you mean, seventh position, so it moves for the seventh one, right? Is it okay with you? Is it okay with you? So so now you have an idea what happens in append, extend, and insert, isn't it? Or else should I explain it again? Okay, so then okay, it's clear. So then we will move for the again. So as we know how to add an element, so we want to learn how to delete as well, right? So have you learned about stacks? Stacks queues. Hope you don't know. So okay, now I show you that. So in the case you want to delete elements, we are using delete keyword, right? But in the delete keyword, it is a built-in function, but it doesn't return anything, right? So, but in the case if you want, if we delete anything accidentally, right? So when we want to get the element back, so we are using this pop, right? Pop with the index value, and also there's another thing as a remove function. Okay, so we will try this command. Sorry, code. Yeah. So in the delete, what will happen is it deletes the index at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10 will be out, right? So in the remove, what will happen? So we have to just remove, we have to define what is the value we want to remove. So example should get removed. So we are using this remove, right? So what will happen when we are using pop? So in the case that we want to want to see, return what is the popped element, we can use this pop, right? So then it returns back what is the popped element and the remaining list as well, right? Is it okay with you? Pop and if you use this clear, we can just empty the list just to clear out all the things. Is it okay with you?
Yeah.
Is it okay? Or do you want to have any show any comments? Throw any comments? What sort of Do you have any idea?
Could we use a number for the remove?
Yes, you can remove anything. If you want to remove 10 here, it will get removed. So now the remove is not there. So we will remove anything than this. Yeah, so the 2 get removed, right? Is it okay with you? Anything
Yeah,
in the
ma'am,
list
thank you.
we can remove.
Yeah, thank you.
Any more things that you want to discuss with me? So here the 5th index is already removed now. So if I try to remove the same one again, just including 10 here, so it outputs an error. Okay. Anything? Okay, so then we will move forward, right? So when we want to access an element, right? So we are using this sort of method. In the case that you means that if you want to just to pop out, not to pop out, just to check what is the third element of a list, or what are the elements between 0 to 1 within a range, excluding someone. So that sort of things we can just input the index in here, right? Or the range. So we will what sort of answer we will have when we compile this one. Then it's easy to explain for me. Okay. So this is a for loop, right? So obviously you know that what happens in the for loop, right? It outputs the elements, right? But if you want to print all the elements, so you can just print the list. But in a case, if you want to print just like this 3, what will happen? It will access only the third element 0, 1, 2, 3. The third one is example, and it will output only the example, right? And in the case that you want to get the elements from 0 to 1, right? So, and excluding 2, what will happen? Simply, if you want to get the element from 0 to 1, 0 and the 1, we will output as 1 and 2 here. So, if you want to access the elements in reverse, we can use this as -1, -2, -3, like that way, right? So when we are indexing, when we refer for the index of the elements, we can count 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But when we go for the reverse order, it is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and -7. Right? Is it okay with you? So do you have an idea how to access for the element? Okay. Then, so there are another few functions that we can use. So yeah, here length, right? I will just compare this one first, right? So length. So in the length, we can output the length of the list. Here the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 elements are there. So the length of the string will be 6. So in the case when we want to output the index of a certain, the value of index of a certain element. So in here it is 10. So the index of this certain element is 0, 1, 2, 3. So we are using this index, right? So, and if you want to find the count of the element, right? The count means how many times does this value appears within the list. So 10 appears within 2 times in the list, right? So count, and we want to give the element here, right? Print sorted list, but not change original. So what happens? So we can use sorted just to sort the list, right? So you can see how it is sorted in here, right? So in the case that we want to, reverse, so you can use this reverse. It's okay with you now? Okay. So there's a question for you. You have to write a simple code to below question, right? So shall we try this one? Just take 10 minutes of your time just to try this one. Add these two elements to the list A. And if you want to remove 6, so we are removing it from here. And instead of, in the case that you want to replace I with M, we are using this one. Yeah, it's clear. And if you want to clear them, we are using clear, right? So there's no issues with that one, right? Are you struggling with something?
Recording stopped.
If you're struggling with something, I can help you. Okay, so as you don't have any questions, so we can wind up the session as well. But I would like to know about your feedback. So, what sort of an idea you have about Python right now? I mean, the things that I have taught you up to so far. So, what sort of idea you have on today's session? Is it interesting or boring, or you didn't understand anything, or anything? Any flowers and stones are welcome. So you can say anything, any feedbacks with me right now. What do you think about today?
So dear ma'am, the session is so clear.
Mm-hmm.
We get all the questions answered today, so
Mm-hmm.
far.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, and it means a lot to me about your appreciations. Anything that you want to share with me? Any questions or whatever it is? Any comments or questions regarding this session today and everything? Yeah, so Python is a little bit different, but it just like as a base of a programmer, right? So the latter part is a little bit confusing. Means most probably, so you have to just practice them, right? So the slicing and appending, extending, all those things. Slicing means just to slice a list, right? So you have experience slicing in your day-to-day restaurant. So you are slicing a bread with your friends, right? or with your siblings. So we are slicing a bread for pieces and we are just share it among us, among the friends or siblings, right? So the same thing is happening in the, what do you mean that list as well. So we are slicing as list. So we can just have only desired share, right? That's what happened in the list. Sorry, slice. So appending, extending, and what's the other thing? Appending, extending, and inserting, right? So the append, we are just add the number, a list or a single element just as a single element, right? So when you want to add something for our list with the use of append, it append as a single element. Or if it is a list or a single element, it acts as single element, right? So, but in what do you mean that when you are extending, when you extend, so it extend the list. So what happens in extend is it just extending. Yeah, we can use other than Python, we can use MATLAB or whatever. Sometimes we are using R for statistics analyzing, and so these things. Actually, because of this, what do you mean? The features that they are offered by these certain languages are very specifically, what do you mean, beneficial for the AI, right? So we are using analyzing of data, and just we are about to training some models, and all those things will happen in the AI, you know. So that's why we are using this AI, Python and MATLAB and those things. Okay, so the inserting is when we want to insert element for a certain position, right? So if we want to insert a certain position, so we are using insert. So in Python, so what happens is they are following the Bodmer's theory, right? So we can so in the case that we want to do a, what do you mean that? Any calculation, so we are using Bodmer's theory. So anything that you want to have, then you want to go to know. So in the case that you want to get a power of a certain element, we can use there's another what do you mean, a method called power, right? Okay, I will share my screen with you. Any more questions other than that? Yes, you can use pub. And
Excuse me, ma'am.
mhm.
That equation I have shared in the chat. When I run it in the compiler, it shows that it is there is an error. So
Yeah, so in here you are using, so what is the programming language you are using here? Python.
Python, ma'am.
Yeah. So in the Python, for the explanations, we are using just asterisks, right?
Okay, ma'am. So if we get an equation like this in the question paper of our final exam, what is the answer, ma'am? Can we write it show if in the paper if they ask to determine the output of this equation?
So yeah, so if you are having this exact expression that you have shared with me, so you will have probably an error. So it is you don't have output, you will have an error.
So, ma'am, do we have to write it as a error, or do we have to write the type of the error?
Actually, so there are many numerous types of errors. So you can't just keep it in the mind. But I don't think that this sort of a question will be at your paper. But you can just give the error, and you can just explain it as well. What sort of error that you are having in here? It is probably a misuse of what do you mean that? Misuse of the mathematical operators in here.
So, ma'am, last year past paper, question 3, part A. This is the question, ma'am. We have to determine the output of the following Python expression.
So in the case that they are asking for to determine the output, so you can just you have the idea of what happens in here. So 5 plus 7, so you have to get the addition and then divide 3, and you have to multiply it by 4 to the power 2, right? So accordingly, you have to input it to the Python compiler and get the output.
So, ma'am, so if we solve this equation, it's come to the answer 256. So, when we write in the answer for this question, we can write the 256, or we can write it shows error.
So actually, I can't, without seeing the question, so I can't just exactly say what sort of answer that you have to give, right? So
it's in the question 3, ma'am. It's
actually I don't have any past papers with me.
So, ma'am, I can tell you the question. The question is determine the output of the.
Can you just put a snapshot of your question right now?
It is. I will write it down. The question. The question is determine the output of the following Python expression called segment. The question is this equation, ma'am. We have to determine the output of this equation.
So in the case that you want to determine the output of this equation, so you want to get the calculation and just output the result.
Okay, so I have run this code in the Python. It shows that it is an error. So
yeah, because it is a misuse of mathematical operators are there. Of course, is exponential marks is we are using it for the power, but in the Python we don't use exponential mark for calculating the power.
So we can write the error as a answer, ma'am.
Yeah, the exact if they ask the output of the exactly what is the output of this code snipped, right? They didn't mention as a code snipped, just the expression. So in that case, you have to calculate it and give the answer.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Any more questions? Do you have any questions on your past papers or something like that? Any reference in books or something?
Ma'am, I have another question regarding to the same question. It is the part B. I will type it in the chat. Can you tell me what is the output, ma'am?
So this is the thing that you have shared with me before, right?
Yes, ma'am. I will type the new question, ma'am. Give me a second. It is the same question, ma'am, but it is the B,
Yeah.
part B.
So obviously you can answer for this question right now. They're asking about the length, right? Is it mentioning as the print length or something like that?
No, ma'am.
Yeah. So you're asking the output, right? So I have taught this one. So do you need any explanation?
Can you run it, ma'am? We can write the output as OUSL EEI3372 1261 43 0.5. Is it correct, ma'am?
So what sorry? Why are you saying length? Sorry, I didn't share my screen. So why we are using this len function? Yeah, before moving to my shared screen, so what is the purpose of using len? Len. Yes, Sachin. Sachin, so what is the purpose of using len? Len.
Ma'am, I'm asking this question because I got a power cut.
Yeah, no issue with that. So the what do you mean that
So I
day
missed
school
the
presented?
session. Yes.
Okay, so you don't have any idea about the lists as well right now.
I have a small.
So what is the part that you have missed because of the power cut?
I missed the most of the day school, ma'am, because of the power cut. So I will watch the recording after this session.
Yeah. So don't you don't have any idea regarding the lists right now? What is a list? So how can we append the elements? How can we extend the list and those things? How can we delete? How can we count? So this
I
count.
have a small idea about the list because.
So have you have you joined with the latter part of this presentation? Slide 37, 38, something like that. So you didn't join right now, right?
I have participated for the last half an hour.
Yeah. So the last half an hour, I taught about this len function.
Okay, ma'am.
So why we are using len? So others also can answer for her question. Why we are using len? Len. No, yeah, the count. Yeah, actually the count. What it's nice if you can say it as what is length of the list, right? So length, now number of elements are there. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements are there. So in the case if we want to get the length of this certain list, we will have the answer as 6, as it is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Any more questions?
No, ma'am, I got it, ma'am. I have this small problem about the length, ma'am, because I didn't quite get it because I was joined after some of the parts are done. Now I got it, ma'am.
Okay, so any questions? So it's better to refer the past papers after you have completed the certain lesson, right? So unless you will get confused, right? So it is the best thing is just to complete a certain module, all the learning materials of a certain module, not a module, just a lesson, and go for a past paper.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. I have participated for the first hour in the session. After that,
But this is the last thing. The length is the last thing that I have taught to you. Most probably you were there, but you didn't go there.
Yes, ma'am. Because I missed the most of the day school, ma'am.
Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so other than Sachin, is there anyone who want to shoot any questions for me? Any confusions regarding the today's day school? Or else any opinions that you want to share with us? Yeah, it's okay.
Ma'am, I have another question, but it is not a past paper or something. It is only pop out on my head. If we, for example, if we write a program for the for something like this, using Python, to calculate our final examination marks and give the students if they have A, B, C, or D, and we need to give a condition. For example, if marks are equal or greater than or equal to 75, it is A. So we have to. We do not put a specific mark for in the code. We only give it as a 0, and the user should put the marks and calculate and run the program, and after that we can get the result if it is A, B, or C. How can we write that kind of a code map?
If I got your question correctly, so you're asking if a user input a certain mark, so what sort of a grade that he want to get out as output, isn't it?
Yes,
it is A, B, or C, right? So others also can help her. So I think there's nothing very very complex in the logic in the program. So what sort of idea? How can you help Sachin in the case of his requirement?
So, ma'am, can we use if command if and after if else? I need to know how to write it as to I can write the half of the Python code, ma'am. I need to know how to put how to write it to Do you user to input the mark?
Yeah, so users input. So how can we get a user input? So so Sachini has missed that part. So others can help us. So how can we? Yes, how? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 No. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, but yeah. So your answer is okay. But so as her question is, how can we get the user's input? So this is how we are using this input, right? Input function just to get the user's input. And in the case that you want to categorize your marks with the certain grade, so accordingly we can just use what is the limit, right? 0 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50. Likewise, we can just have nested if or else actually. So in the what do you mean? For the Python, we don't have switch node, so obviously we have to use a nested if in here.
No, I think she's asking about the input, about the
Yeah.
marks.
So
I mean,
yes, for the user to get the user's
yeah,
input, we can use the
yeah, when we get the input is stored as a string, I think. So
no,
to check the marks, we should convert it to the integer. I think that's the thing Sachin is asking.
is it the thing? Is it the thing, Sajini, you want to clarify?
Yes, ma'am. I have write the code for this program, but that is the confusion.
Okay. So you are just struggling with the data type then, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me give a nice. Yeah. So, but the typecasting is will not.
Yeah, man. To check the marks, is asking for the data type. Right?
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So it is a string. So in here you have to cast it, right? So you have to get yeah. So it the using put in here you are having just as a string also. It just give the string. So but in the case that you want to convert it as an integer, so there's another method as typecast, right? So hopefully you will learn it later. But as you have asked from it right now, I will just give a brief. So you are just telling that this just to do this like this way, no? Yes. So this is what we are telling as typecasting, right? So, but in here it doesn't convert as a string. Let me check. So I don't think that this is the best way, but
Ma'am, can we put it like this? X equals to input bracket int. Sorry, x equals to int input enter number.
like this way.
No, ma'am. X equals to input enter number.
I don't think that there will be any difference. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so yeah, like this way. So you can use like this way, or else you can just we will try in here as well.
That is the confusion that I have faced in that particular code. After you said that I input the int mark into the after input input after that code runs I get my output, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, so you can use this like this way, int, right? So this is called typecasting. So typecasting is just to what do you mean? Convert a string, convert a data type for another data type. What do you mean? Just to convert something from another one data type to another data, right? So this is called typecasting. So in the typecasting, we can use. You will hopefully learn these things, right? So we can just have like this way. What do you mean? Give the data type, and within the brackets we can just give the value. But in here it doesn't output as a string because I have casted it in here now. So in the case at the very first moment, if you want to have it as in, so we can have this like this. Okay. So now it just has it because the input itself convert as an integer and it gives as a it prints in here. So any more questions? So hopefully you will learn about this typecasting and those things later, right?
To learn about very complicated things about the Python. And can we use W3 schools or Solalearn for that those kind of things?
Both platforms are okay for beginners, but in the case that you want to have a very complex idea, so I think it's better. But so Python can be used in the different purposes. Now, in the case of the software development as well as in the AI and all those things. Now, according to the platform, according to the field that you are choosing, you can choose any preferable method. So there are plenty of resources. Actually, I can't just suggest you this is the good thing, but you can use lead code, HackerRank platforms as well. And there are plenty of resources. You can use any of them according to your what do you mean, that learning rate and all those things. Any more questions? Any questions that you have? Okay, so for your what do you mean? So what will happen? So as you have just raised the question in on what is that? about the power exponential marks. So I said that you can use math.pow now. So this is how you are using, but in here it is important just to import this math library, right? So under this math library, this power condition will be appeared, or else you can just print it like this. Right? So 2 asterisks. Any more questions? Any more problems that you want to ask from me? Okay, so as you don't have any questions, so we can wind up the session. And yeah, goodbye.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, my pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Okay, my pleasure.